What's going on, everyone? Good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're tuning in, wherever you're tuning in. I'm Nicole. I'm former fat girl turned certified nutrition coach, now living and promoting the low carb lifestyle. I'm joined here by two of my friends, Jonathan with Composition Consultant and Kim. She's going to have to remind us what her ad sign is because there's a lot of initials at the end of it. So
I need to remove those initials. Honestly, like I'm not trying to be pretentious with those at all. I just put them on there after I got my bachelor's degree 20 years into my being a nurse. So,
yeah.
I didn't take it off.
Yeah. No, nothing
But yeah,
about.
it's at Kimberly Lane BSN RN.
Got you. Yeah. Nothing about pretentious. I just couldn't remember, but yeah, it's on the screen. It's exactly what's on the screen now.
Well, every time I see it, I'm like, I need to change it. I'm not here as a nurse. I'm just here as a person.
Hey. So how's it going, Kim? I saw that you were working, last night? You were in the hospital?
Yesterday, yeah.
Okay.
Yesterday I worked.
And
yeah, it's going great. Just nothing to complain about really here. I feel great because I'm carnivore and
What's going on, What's going on, Jonathan?
Yeah, not much. Just chilling on a rainy day in England. The weather here is always crap, so pretty typical day for us. Happy to be here though. Thank you for the invite. I'm going to look forward to a very entertaining little hangout, maybe a bit of Q&A, maybe a bit of a talk on a select topic that we've previously spoken about. So brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. We have something in the pipeline if needed. It's an article written by a registered dietitian on the 7 reasons the carnivore diet is unhealthy and what to try instead. So at some point, we're going to possibly go bullet by bullet and dismantle this article together with, of course, the chat and involvement. I think that'll be super fun. But speaking of chat, let's see who's here. We got Rick as always. What's going on, Rick?
What's good, Rick?
Hey, Rick.
Hope you give me the watch hours and not those two.
Hey, let's not. I already have enough.
It's a competition,
people.
Nicole.
I already have enough people trying to. So how's the weather down in Florida, Rick? Jonathan's all rainy. We're all like foggy and gloomy here.
I'm sunny.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous day. I've got my pool just right, and I'm like, I can't wait for later today.
You're so mean.
I know. Hey, well, at least I'm not Alia, who goes swimming like every day.
That's true.
She rubs it into all of us, doesn't she?
That's true. Every Sunday, I think. What's going on?
Say his name.
The big new Warzonic?
Zbigniew. Yeah, very close.
Was it?
Yeah, very, very close. Yeah.
Give me some likes. Yep. Give me some likes for trying.
Z-man.
Z-man.
Or woman. I think it's man. I don't know.
Is it?
Yeah, he's a client of mine. He's a really nice guy, and he's an avid supporter of my channel and all the stuff I put out. And he does put a lot of effort into his questions. So I think he's got one below actually somewhere. So
kind of like your effort into your questions, like along.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of questions.
Do you mind if we call you Z-Man? Is that okay?
He's happy with Z. He's happy with Z.
Okay. So smash that like button. What's up, Mike? How's it going?
Hey, Mike.
Good evening. It's about 11 a.m. where I am.
I think Aggravator's in the UK, I think.
Yeah, I think he is. I've been awake for about 3 hours. What's up, Sophie?
Hi, Connie.
I know her.
Are you the one running the vacuum, Sophie?
No, I'm back at my place. I don't know who the miscreant is.
Oh, what's going on, Sean? Are you in the truck or are you home? What's up, Becky? Let's see if I think Jonathan said there's some questions. What's up, JP?
JP.
All right.
All of these names are starting to be familiar now.
Me
it's
too.
Really cool. I like it. Because you can kind of get to know a little bit about each person.
Carnivore Transformer. His name is, I think it begins with. I saw him on the live. I think it begins with G, but I might be wrong.
Yeah,
I think he's might be Australian or something.
I thought he was from Africa.
Or South African, yeah.
Where
maybe.
are you from, Carnivore Transformer? Because we're going to guess all the countries.
Who won? Who won?
Listen.
Who won a ribeye?
With butter. Okay,
Graham.
Z-Man.
Where's Graham?
First question of the day.
Graham.
South Africa. I mean.
Oh, is it South Africa?
Yeah.
So who said South Africa? No one, right?
I said Africa.
There's a difference.
South Africa's in Africa, yeah, so she's correct.
Okay, I guess you're technically correct, yeah. Okay.
Listen, I went to public school in the United States, so it's a wonder I even know
geography.
Other places
geography over there, guys.
States.
We always mock you guys for geography. We're shocked when we're like,
hey,
where's Russia? Where's I don't know. Where's
Listen,
Egypt?
They don't want us to know. They don't want us to know where everything else is, because that way we'll stay here and eat our vegan food.
In your safe zone.
Man.
We'll be good.
So bad. So Z-Man, any thoughts how to overcome side effects after quitting coffee? I just did. Headaches, tiredness, anxiety, time heals all, question mark, question mark, question mark. Who wants to, Jonathan, since he's your client, why don't you lead us off?
Sure, yeah. I think he's about 3 or 4 days from going cold turkey or coffee. He doesn't drink like 10 cups of it, but I think he's drinking like maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 a day. I think you can either like rip the plaster off, theoretically,
yeah,
or you can just taper it down. I think there's not really a better way to do it. Depends on the individual. I think either way you will suffer in order to come off these things. Now, what I find interesting is most people that I know that first have coffee, they don't enjoy it. So it tells me we kind of adapt to start to like that toxin. Mm-hmm. Like I never liked alcohol. I never liked coffee. I had a coffee, then started cream, milk, stuff like that. Oh, all of a sudden it tastes good.
Yeah.
So I think you kind of have to phase it out the same way. But just be careful if you ever have it again. Remember that you're a complete newbie. So I think it is a toxin and you have to treat it as such.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same with me. It took me about 3 days to overcome the symptoms, and now I'm fine. But yeah, you just have to kind of ride it out, ride the wave. Do you have anything to add, Kim? Were you an avid coffee drinker?
I am not an avid coffee drinker. However, I used to be an avid smoker.
Ah.
I hate that about myself, but I quit a long, long time ago. And with me, you just pretty much have to, I think you just need to get that drug out of your system as quickly as possible. Because, from a medical perspective, if the drug's in your system, you're still addicted to it. So even, in the cigarette route, when people vape, they're still keeping that nicotine going. So technically, your body's still wanting cigarettes. Well, with coffee, if you got that caffeine in your system, your body still wants it and it expects it. So you just have to kind of rip the Band-Aid off, go cold turkey if that's what you're truly wanting to do, and it should work beautifully for you. After about 3 to 10 days, I find that it tends to be, drugs like that tend to be out of your system, and I mean it gets a lot better. It gets a lot easier.
I think that's a good way to look at it, that looking at it like it's a drug and you're essentially detoxing from the addiction.
I mean, it is a drug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like detoxing from the addiction.
Yeah. And I mean, I may be wrong on the 3 to 10 days. I'm applying that to nicotine. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
With coffee, I do coffee, because, I kind of like it,
Yeah.
here and there, like a few times a week. So.
And you're good with like a few times a week? You don't feel like once you have it once, you don't have to have it every day? Okay.
No, not at all. Like I could go a month and not have it and then have it again.
Interesting. Yeah, some people have that addictive personality to where it's like very easy. Like you have something and then you always have to have something. I just find that so fascinating, just how the mind works.
I think what it is, I never really got addicted to it.
That's
I'm
true.
not saying I'm not addicted to caffeine.
Yeah.
Because I do drink caffeine, but I don't drink coffee.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay. Connie Knight, hot hot as heck here in South Carolina. All right, it's about 80 degrees where I am. I don't know. What's the weather where you are? Kim, do you know? In Kentucky?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's sunny.
Is it hot?
I don't know what the temperature is, but it seems hot. It looks hot. I'm looking
Yeah.
outside.
Well, Jonathan, we already know in the UK it's never nice
Horrible.
weather there, right?
Well, if it's slightly warm, it'll be raining probably anyway. So
Yeah.
people
So I'm gonna look and
misunderestimate how
see
bad the
here.
weather is.
It is 81 and mostly sunny here. Looks fully
Oh.
sunny to me, but
So it's about
gonna
the
be
same
up to
temperature.
89.
Nice. Okay, so it's about the same temperature as where I am. I'm just outside of DC, but it's very
Yeah.
cloudy here. There's no
I
sign of
find
sun.
it's pretty similar, climate from
Yeah.
here to there.
Yeah, it's just there's no sign of sun. It's just very overcast and cloudy and dark and yeah. So we got Richard Williams. Good morning from Copper Hill, Tennessee. How's it going?
Hey, Tennessee. I feel like that's my brother or sister.
Oh yeah?
Kentucky and Tennessee, we're practically one.
So if you guys have any questions, drop a Q and we'll get to it. But I don't see any questions. So if you guys are good with it, let me get rid of that. If you guys are good with it, I can go ahead and share my screen and we can just go through that article and dismantle some bullet points here.
The power of
I
technology.
thought when you said bullet points, I thought you were going to say dismantle some Never mind.
Wait, what?
Yes. I don't want to cuss on your stream.
I mean, that too.
We'll do some of that too.
Yeah, why not?
Oh, God,
Oh no. Something. Okay, I'm assuming everyone can see that.
We see it. Yeah.
All right,
Yes.
cool. So this article, 7 Reasons a Carnivore Diet is Unhealthy and What to Try Instead. This is written by registered dietitian and licensed dietitian Kristen Kirkpatrick. I'm actually familiar with her. She writes a ton of blogs. So we're not going to read this whole thing. We're just going to go ahead and just start with the bullet points. And Jonathan kind of read this a little bit, the bullet points. Kim and I are coming at it blind, so it's going to be fun. And let us know in the comment section what you all think as we go through these. But number 1, carnivore diets increase LDL and risk of heart disease. Oh, this is fun. So Jonathan, what do you think about that first one with the carnivore diet increasing LDL and heart disease risk?
Well, I mean, reading it quickly, risk is a causative statement, which means you have to undertake an experiment to prove causality. And I highly doubt they've got a study which has measured people on a carnivore diet with various levels of LDL, which has in any way been suggested to alter health outcomes. So, in of itself, the title is automatically incorrect. Then also they have to be able to underpin why an increase of LDL is causing a heart disease risk, which I don't think they'll be able to do that. Now, they've linked by the looks of it some studies.
I was going to say.
A study. But clinical trials, 270,000 patients. I mean, how have they managed to come up with that? It's not causative. I doubt they've got 270,000 people in a lab eating predetermined meal plans every day for a lifespan to be able to sort of say, yes, this is what's causing a problem.
Yeah. It says there were 34 clinical trials looking at more than 270,000 patients. More aggressive lowering of LDL-C was found to reduce risk of all-cause mortality, not just heart disease deaths, when compared to less aggressive treatments. So, when it comes to clinical trials and human nutrition, I'm pretty sure there's laws against kidnapping 270,000 humans and locking them in labs to control their environment and what they eat and drink for the rest of their lives. And then when it comes to cholesterol, which I'm sure we all know that our body needs cholesterol. It's very, very important for our biochemical, physiological, for our bodily functions. We need cholesterol. But the lipid panels that they run they test, like, an analogy I heard recently is a lot of these test the passengers in the vehicles. So if there's a lot of taxis, say in like New York City, they're testing the passengers in the vehicles, not the vehicles on the road. So I don't even think they're testing for the right thing, the right type of cholesterol anyway. What do you guys think about that? Kim, do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, you just can't say. Can you scroll down a little bit? I mean, yeah,
Scroll
scroll
up.
back up, I guess.
Yeah.
I want to see it. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can't just say carnivore diets increase LDL. I mean, in everybody, like, who are we talking about here? Did you do a study about carnivore diets specifically and increasing LDL? It looks like the study that they've cited is not even about a carnivore diet. I'm trying to read it here. It's a
Yeah.
lot there. But consider this massive study. What's a massive study? What type of study are we talking about? Like, I guess we can click on it and link to the study, but it just seems like, pulling. You can make anything say anything. I could cite a study that says that, I should eat blueberries every single day. What kind of study? I need to know what type of study it was. It says a number of people, but it doesn't give me any information. That's not even good. It's not good data to look at there. It means nothing. Like, give me the actual study, the actual numbers, the actual, like, was it a controlled, what type of study? I'm
Yeah.
just saying the same thing over and over.
Yeah, and it's funny because most people aren't going to click on that link to actually look at the study. They're just going to take
No.
this at face value.
Yeah, we can see you, babe.
I saw him.
Get something good in
Hi,
that
hubby.
refrigerator.
Oh my
Maybe it's
God.
carnivore.
Bye, hubby.
He's not carnivore. He's a little skinny.
right.
Just standard American diet man.
Does he
Yeah.
want to say hi? No. Okay. So number 2, the carnivore diet may turn on cancer pathways. Oh my gosh, I just did a video on this. It says
Definitely not.
researchers like Walter Longo at USC have published extensive research showing how the amino acid composition of animal protein turns on cancer pathways in the body by increasing levels of a hormone known as insulin, like growth factor 1, IFG1. And then they quote another study. The bottom line here is that consuming large doses of the pro-inflammatory amino acids, what? Found in animal proteins is not a great idea. What?
Well, thanks for that.
So I'm pretty
Oh,
sure
my dogs are barking. Sorry.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that there's a ton of studies where they put cancer cells under a microscope and they inject the cancer cells with glucose and they watch the cancer cells grow and multiply. So sugar feeds cells, including cancer cells. That's what they feed on. And I've never heard of amino acids being inflammatory. Have you, Jonathan? What do you think about that nonsense?
Well, the idea is they're mentioning a mechanism of action which is a bit better than the last study. So they're trying to say this causes this. The thing is, there is no cause and effect evidence to explain that any amino acid turns on cancer pathways and elicits a carcinogenic response in any amino acid. Some trigger IGF-1 to a greater degree than others, but you need IGF-1 signaling in order to allow cell mitosis and create more muscle tissue, allow for different cells to recover and things like that. So in essence, if you're trying to reduce IGF-1, you're by default encouraging deficiency. So the idea isn't to turn these things off. The idea is to have them turned on and off and on and off as needed, as per requirement of the human body.
Yeah. What do you say to that nonsense, Kim?
Well, I wish my dogs would stop barking for one.
They did. I hear silence.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah.
There's 3 of them, so they feed off of each other. But
speaking of feeding off of each other, apparently the cancer cells feed off of amino acids. Yeah.
Evidently. I mean, I don't know. It seems like a whole lot of nonsense to me. Um, and it's a study about various fruit compounds on liver cancer cells. I mean, that's not the carnivore diet. What are we talking about? Like sometimes people write these articles and I'm just like, what are they even talking about?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I would have to read it, but I definitely I know from studying this stuff for years and years that even a ketogenic diet, never mind a carnivore diet, uh, dogs.
Aw.
Anyway, it's
Yeah.
going to, anytime you lower your sugar feeds cancer. We know this, it's
Yes.
established. Yeah, exactly. Overcomplicating nutrition is the purpose. I agree. This it's a whole lot of nothing to me. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
we know
wish
that
I
sugar feeds
wish
cancer.
I wish it were more established as sugar feeds cancer, because there's still people out there that says fats feed cancer cells. And this is actually the first thing I read that actually says amino acids feed cancer cells. So like I've always read fat or sugar, but this is the first I've actually read where amino acids are now in the picture. So it's like eating food causes cancer. Just stop eating and drink water and you won't get cancer at this point.
I
Well,
mean,
it's
we've
yeah,
also seen these people try to say that eating meat causes diabetes. So,
Correct.
they can't be trusted.
Yeah. What were you gonna say,
It's
Jonathan? It's yeah.
yeah. Sorry. Well, it's funny, isn't it? Like our human evolution has brought us here from eating protein and fat as two individual macronutrients for the most part. All of a sudden, over the last 10,000 years, we've been adding in seed oils, carbohydrates, processed food,
Mm.
sugar, effectively. Now, what's funny about that is cancer rates have gone up exponentially as a result of that dietary intervention. And people say, "Oh, no, it's not. It's not carbohydrates. It's not sugar. It must be protein." Well, our protein intake hasn't gone up really. So, what would explain the sudden proliferation and amounts of cancer rates in the Western world in general, and even countries such as India?
Right.
What explains that? People aren't eating the natural diet. For example, in Mexico and in India, two of the places with the highest rates of diabetes and some forms of cancer, well, they're all eating a high sugar diet. They're activating the Randall cycle.
Yep.
They've got more inflammation. So that doesn't serve us well. Like, it doesn't make sense to me that protein and fat is pro-inflammatory. Because if it was, we wouldn't be here now. We would have all
Right.
died of cancer, I don't know, a million years ago.
And also I
It's
have to
not
add,
logical.
sorry, Jonathan. I have to add that in the wild, we don't see deer running around with a lot of cancer. We don't well, and I'm not going to say deer anyway. I don't know the diet of deer, but animals in the wild that are eating their natural diets do not go around with cancer.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, um, and it's a natural thing. It's not, I don't know. I don't have a lot to add to that, but sorry.
Yeah. No,
I'm
that's a
Makes
stammering.
fair
sense.
yeah, that's a fair point though. Like eating
I'm
your
sitting here
natural
thinking
diet.
like, wait, what's the diet of deer?
Yeah. I
Actually,
think
I
they
think
eat
deer
grass
do eat grass and stuff.
and
So
and
bad
flowers.
example, but you don't see animals in the wild going around with a lot of cancer,
Right.
because they're not eating the processed crap that comes from boxes and bags. And, you
Yeah.
know, um, are there other
Yeah,
ways to avoid cancer than eating carnivore? Absolutely. But I don't think that carnivore is going to cause cancer.
Yeah,
yeah.
and there's I trust Dr. Safe Reed when it comes to cancer. Seems like he follows a logical method. And then someone else said, uh, this ain't no weenie roast. Professor Safe Reed, I just had to say his name, showed that cancer feeds on glucose and glutamine 100%.
Do either of you have an idea of why it feeds on glutamine, specifically as an amino acid?
Do I?
Either of you, yeah.
Oh no.
Okay,
Do
I think
you?
it's so it's roughly 30% of the amino acids in our body. The protein in our body is comprised of the amino acid glutamine, so it's in effect in abundance. If it's in abundance, it's obviously there to serve purpose. So it is a gluconeogenic amino acid to provide glucose in times of famine. So we can tear down our muscle tissues to produce glutamine to then produce glucose. So that's why they say glutamine is a precursor to certain cancers. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
effectively, it's
think
like
I
having more
did.
sugar.
I think I did read that when I was doing a deep dive. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Jonathan.
Oh yeah,
You're very well versed in this stuff.
I read a lot of things.
That's awesome.
Too much things. I don't sleep, do I? So
He doesn't. He's a cyborg. He's a
I
cyborg.
I know because he'll be making comments on stuff, and I'm like, why
Like,
is he
yeah.
not asleep? How's he
I
gonna?
was I was like, I just saw you 8 hours ago. What time is it in the
Yeah.
UK? What's happening? Okay.
yeah,
So the next one, carnivore diets are not always ketogenic. Regardless of what you may think about health benefits of ketosis, the subject isn't always relevant to the carnivore diet. The carnivore diet often
Mm.
includes too much protein to be ketogenic, so gluconeogenesis are talking about. The process of gluconeogenesis is what prevents many carnivore diets from reaping the benefits of ketosis. All right. So, Jonathan, since you ended on gluconeogenesis, what do you say about that? Let me scroll back up so you can see
oh
it.
yeah. Well, the idea of a lot of diets nowadays, they sort of say, okay, the ketogenic diet, so a high fat diet, moderate protein, low or zero carbohydrates,
Mm-hmm.
is best because all the studies say it does this mechanism in the body, which is true. In a lot of
Yeah.
cases, it is very helpful for nearly probably all disease states. The thing is, people focus too much on ketosis. I
Mm.
don't see many people focusing enough on get rid of the plant anti-nutrients, things like that.
Yeah.
I think the most appropriate way to eat is to cycle in and out of ketosis, with
Me too.
ketosis being the default mechanism. I know you guys have said before, like about when you're born, you're in a ketotic state, which makes sense.
Yes.
Our body's trying to grow as much as needed, but not grow excess tissue that it doesn't need. So it's about that balance. The way we're going to meet that, so cycling in and out of ketosis, is having a meal with protein in it, which is significant to spike insulin, to serve to shuttle amino acids, electrolytes around the body, absorb tissue. So people think insulin's a bad thing.
Right.
No, our bodies have adapted to produce insulin from the pancreas to deal with things from the body, so it can survive and subsist and do stuff. So the goal isn't to eliminate insulin and have ketosis all the time. That's not the point of it. It's about cycling in and out of it. So yeah, protein's been demonized. I mean, I do know people that seem to benefit from reducing protein a bit if it is high, but I do believe we have a specific protein and fat requirement, and for each one of us, that is quite different. So that's pretty much my summary of that.
Yeah. I agree 100%. So as Jonathan says, I actually started saying this on my channel to kind of because people still have this fear of fat and animal foods whenever I talk. So I started actually shifting instead of explaining how our body functions and the nutrients it needs and bringing it back to basic biochemistry and biology and all that stuff. I was like, okay, let me just start with this. When we're born, we're in our most natural state. When we're born in a ketogenic state. When we feed on breast milk, that is mostly saturated fat. It's mostly saturated fat. Cholesterol is what breast milk is. So we're fat burners when we're born. We shift to sugar burners when our parents start feeding us the crap, like the jar baby food and all that other stuff, when we're able to eat real food. That's where we shift our metabolism to then being a sugar burner predominantly, but in our natural state, we're fat burners. So I disagree with the whole gluconeogenesis kicking us out of ketosis. Our body does need a certain amount of glucose to fuel our brain, to fuel, I believe it's like 150 grams or something of glucose to fuel our brain. It's like 60 to 70% is fat in the form of saturated fat and cholesterol. The rest is about 20% is glucose. So our cells are we do need glucose, but the good thing about our bodies is it's a well-oiled machine if we're feeding it the proper currency of fuel. Then it starts to function properly. So our bodies self-regulate glucose from non-carb sources such as amino acids from protein. So our bodies regulate and will produce what it needs to fuel our cells and the brain. It's not going to overproduce. Now there might be outliers or rare cases, but our bodies are functioning in a way to where it's not going to overproduce glucose if you're not eating exogenous carbohydrates. It's going to produce exactly what your body needs to fuel the brain and the areas that our body needs glucose. So I don't think it's going to kick you out of ketosis. Now, what happens is people following the ketogenic diet will eat exogenous carbohydrates. And that's the problem, is the types of carbs they're eating, the keto treats and all that stuff. So I think it just depends, but I don't think the process of gluconeogenesis itself is going to automatically kick you out of ketosis as long as you're not eating an abundance of carbs. But she's talking the carnivore diet specifically, which technically is primarily animal foods and should be as close to zero carbs as possible. So if we're talking just the carnivore diet and what the carnivore diet is and encompasses, gluconeogenesis is not going to kick you out of ketosis because your body regulates and will only produce and convert what it needs. It's not going to overproduce and over convert. So that's my take on that. Kim, do you have anything, or Jonathan? Do either of you?
So I just want to kind of bring in what I've heard a couple of our well-known ketogenic doctors say. One is Dr. Chafee, and he said that if you eat an enormous ribeye, your body may be kicked out of ketosis for a while. But is ketosis the goal? Like, that's not really the goal, to stay in constant ketosis. As a matter of fact, to be able to cycle in and out is actually metabolic flexibility. And that's more what we want to achieve than just being in a constant state of ketosis. It's, and then like Dr. Berry says, this is not really applying to that, but our body's not dumb.
Right. That's what I was getting at. Yeah.
That's the straight to the point thing. Your body is not stupid. It knows what it needs. And when we give it what it needs, or if we don't give it what it needs, it's gonna, we don't give it as much sugar as it needs, it's going to make it out of what we give it, which is the gluconeogenesis. But it knows how to do things, it's the well-oiled machine. And I can tell personally by the way I feel, by, not even weight loss, just other factors, that my body's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And I mean, I could study some biochemistry and get into all that, but to me, it's more of a common sense approach, And she's not, once again, she's not really saying a whole lot of anything here.
No.
Carnivore diets are not always ketogenic. Okay. I mean, that's supposed to mean something. I mean, it's just a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, our bodies aren't dumb. They are well-oiled machines. And yeah, I don't stay in ketosis. I cycle in and out. I don't actually track my ketones or macros. I don't track any of that stuff. But yeah, sometimes I eat higher carbs. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm ketovore. Sometimes I'm closer to keto. So yeah, I technically cycle in and out. But yeah, that's Kim is hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what I was gonna add. Our bodies aren't dumb. It produces what it needs to function, and yeah. So what?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just, a lot of it seems like it's coming from a person who's obviously never tried it.
Right? She's a registered dietitian. She has not tried it.
And she has a vendetta as a registered dietitian against probably ketogenic diets alone, but
they do.
Carnivore.
They do, because we're trained, and Jonathan can attest to this. We're trained in gluconeogenesis and all this stuff. But in the same vein, we're kind of warned that following a ketogenic diet or a low carb diet isn't healthy long term, because your body is going to go into, it's our emergency system, it's our backup system, and that's what we're taught. And that's why registered dietitians like trash on low carb diets, because that's how they're trained. But I did an interview with Dr. Sarah Salvador that's on my channel, and she actually talks about her training a little bit and what they're taught, and she digs into that a bit. So it's very interesting if you haven't seen it. It does go into the American Nutrition and Dietetics kind of goal and vendetta, if you will. So she actually, yeah, she exposed a
Well,
lot.
and it's just like what they say. If you have too strong of an emotional response about something,
Yeah.
you may want to look, may want to be introspective there and look at
Yeah.
why you have that reaction. And are you so sure about what you actually believe, because it's not all of what people are practicing is true science. Sometimes they need to do a little bit more studying.
Right. And the fact that type 3 diabetes is now considered Alzheimer's actually made me happy with that classification, because that's showing the that nutrition is is causing
Yeah,
these issues. It's because like eating
exactly.
excess glucose and not enough fat actually kills your brain cells. It prevents it from producing oxygen for the bloodstream. Like all these things happen, and that produces dementia, which is a branch of Alzheimer's, and
Yeah,
brain fog and ADD even, and all these other things. It's
I can
excess
speak for
glucose.
that.
Yeah, it's excess
Yes.
glucose. All right, so we have, oh my god, this is a long one. Okay. Carnivore diet burdens the liver and kidneys, and this is what we were told in our nutrition training and why it's not good long term, because there's no long term studies on the effects of our liver and kidneys, our organs, for the gluconeogenesis process, and we're told that it overworks them and it can cause damage down the line. Jonathan, were you taught that too, or told that in your training?
Oh yeah, all the usual suspects, definitely.
Yeah. So this is essentially saying, again, going through the process and all that stuff. Um, it's a lot. So to break down, when we eat protein, the body breaks down the nitrogen molecules and turns it into ammonia, which is then processed by the liver into something called urea, which goes through the kidneys on its way out of the body as urine. And this is the urea cycle. And then they talk about this Harvard health blog, which, as we know, we should know by now, Harvard shouldn't be trusted when it comes to nutrition at all. Does a nice job explaining how variants in urea cycle function may play an important role in how adults respond to high protein diets. Um, and then it talks about how much ammonia can your body clear before your liver and kidneys are damaged. As with histamine, no two people will be exactly the same. So, carnivore diet burdens the liver and kidneys if you're following a high protein diet. Kim, what do you got with that fun one?
All this stuff just makes my head hurt, honestly. It's too much. It's so ridiculously trying to sound like, it's like a pseudo intellectual thing to
Yeah.
me. First of all, we can test these things. Any basic lab tests are going to tell you your kidney function and your liver function. It's not difficult. If this were true, all of the carnivores that would be, on dialysis. Well, they're not. As a matter of fact, just the opposite is true. There have been many, many, many cases. I'm not citing any studies. I'm just telling you what I have learned from, studying this stuff for 10 years. And I'm talking about ketogenic diets in general. They don't harm your liver or your kidneys. As a matter of fact, they reverse. Sometimes you'll have people that have like stage 4 chronic kidney disease, and it gets better. So, I mean, I'm not making that as a claim. Obviously, I have to state that because of these stupid little letters I put behind my name. But I'm just saying, there are many, many, many cases that can be cited. And we could all look up research if we wanted. I know how it makes my body feel when I go to the doctor and I look at my labs. They're better than they used to be. They continue to get better as I progress with this. It's, it's just dumb to to sit and for them to just say all this nonsense. It's just nonsense to me.
Were you taught in nursing school? I mean, my mom's a nurse,
Yes.
and I know she has a biochemistry book she still has at home or whatever. I don't know what else
Hmm.
you're taught, but as far as the liver and kidneys function, were you taught anything about like high protein diets affecting your liver and kidneys during your nursing
Yeah.
school, or
Yeah, as a
what
matter
were
of
you?
fact, when people are on dialysis, they say, "Oh, low protein diet. Make sure they're on a protein diet."
Yeah,
And then they just bring them the same crap that they bring everybody else, pretty much, to
yeah.
eat. More sugar. Got to
Yeah.
have that
I
sugar in
got
there.
that question when I did a talk at a senior one of the networking groups I go to because I focus on seniors as well because their diet's crap. But someone asked me a question about this, saying that they're on dialysis and they were told to eat a low protein diet.
Hmm.
And I gave my opinion with the caveat, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, do whatever your doctor says, but my opinion is this. Do not take this as medical advice. But yeah, that's exactly what they were told to do also, is decrease their protein and
Yeah.
essentially eat more plant foods is what they were told.
And if we listened to all of these studies, we would be like, "Oh, I've got to drink this much wine, and I've got to do this, and I've got to eat, can't eat too much of that, got to eat this." We would be so just confused all the time because a large percentage of these studies are absolute garbage. So, along with the articles that people write that, you
Like
know,
this one.
yeah,
So
like this one, exactly. And I'm
Jonathan,
sure, like, she sounds very intellectual. I'm sure
yeah.
she's really trying to be like, "Yeah, I got them there," but we know what our bodies feel like, and I feel like as an individual, as an N of one, as they say,
Yeah.
you owe it to yourself to test. I'm always doing experiments on my body. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to do this and see what happens. I'm going to eat a little bit more fat and see what happens. I get tested, I get my blood tested on a regular basis and, may even start getting it tested more frequently. I've thought about doing like a CGM and, just some different things.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think that we know what happens in our body. It's if it feels good or if it doesn't feel good. It's basic common sense.
Yeah. What do you have to add, Jonathan? I'm sure you're smart in this area.
Yeah, I did study medical science. I have 2 points to make, so I'm kind of going to almost reiterate what Kimberly just said, but my
Yeah.
kind of own kind of experience here. So, I think it was 2017 or 18, I had my second bout of mononucleosis. Yeah, go figure, second bout. That led me to have liver and kidney damage, which was very detrimental. I felt like crap, really crap, really, really crap. So both my values were in those cases. My EGFR function was it's like 40. Ideally, want that above about 60. And my liver values were all the enzymes were significantly elevated. Now, what's funny is since that period of time, I've increased my protein dramatically and used a carnivore diet. Now, all my numbers are significantly better. So if people were to say, "Oh, your kidneys, if you know, they deteriorate, your numbers go down, they can't be reversed, and it's going to burden the body and carnivore diet, high protein." I'm an example of where that hasn't been true. My kidney function, liver function are now significantly better. They're within range, so to speak, and I'm actually eating more protein and eating an unhealthy diet, so to speak. Now, the second thing as well is a lot of these tests that people have are absolutely useless. If you exercise and you have a blood test within, say, 3 to 4 days of exercising, a lot of these numbers will be inflamed and it will make you think that you've got something wrong with you. And also, a lot of these blood tests, for example, the kidney function test, the one I just mentioned, although it is a test that is somewhat useful, it's not the gold standard. I had the gold standard test, which is a nuclear radiation test where they put a nuclear tracer agent through your body, measure how long it takes to get from time A to point B, and that's the best way to determine your kidney function. And mine was extremely good. I also had an ultrasound. My kidneys were about 10%, 20% bigger than the average person's. But bigger doesn't mean worse. It doesn't mean you're going to die faster. It means they've adapted to deal with more protein, and their function is impeccable. So the diet, liver and kidneys, it doesn't make sense. Now, from a scientific, from like a broad outlook, like historically or ancestrally, if we look at indigenous populations where they've had, say, a high animal protein diet, so look at Maasai, Hadza, I'm not sure how many of those people have had liver or kidneys donated to them. Like a replacement. I don't think you've ever seen that. You don't hear of these people having kidney pain, and if that was true, you notice that of everyone. You'd notice time and time again. Okay, they're always in the ER. They're always having to call up the mainland sort of people, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Now, people demonize these biochemical processes and cycles from the body. You're elevating this in the urea cycle, therefore it's bad. Well, we've been doing that throughout history. Like Kimberly said earlier, everything the body does has a point. Assuming you're eating the right foods, and like Kimberly said, like about feeling better and just generally just doing better in life. Well, if your liver's fucked and your kidneys are fucked, well, then you'd feel like crap. I think although these tests are useful, yes, they can underpin what is and is not going on in the body. How would you feel at the end of the day? Do you sleep well? Do you have a good appetite? Are you losing body fat if you've got excess body fat? These are all things to look at, but people pay way too much attention onto these objective markers, which are very limited in some cases. Like looking here about the CPS1 gene or whatever it is. All right, that's one gene in the body. The body has millions and millions of genes that turn on and off all the time. What are you going to underpin by saying that one gene does this specific thing? I don't know. So yeah, I think we've covered that one and boiled it to death.
Yeah. Let's see what the next one is. Carnivore diet and urinary tract infections. Really?
Me first.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. Research. Kim's all over this one. Researchers at Washington University in St. Louis have published some excellent research showing that E. coli, oh my God, a pathogenic strain of bacteria responsible for most urinary tract infection, grows best in acidic urine. Without an acidic environment, E. coli can't get the iron it needs to survive and thrive. The carnivore diet has the potential to create an acidic environment perfect for urinary tract infections and prostate inflammation in women and men, respectively. Go, Kim.
Yay. Okay, first of all, your body has an excellent system of keeping itself at the right pH. Okay, it doesn't care what you're eating or what kind of alkaline water you're drinking, or not that applies to this, but you know what I'm saying. Your body is perfect. Not exactly, but it does a really good job of maintaining the pH in the proper places in your body. Okay, as long as you don't mess around with it and start taking drugs to interfere with that. As far as urinary tract infections go, fed by sugar, you're spilling sugar into your urine because you're eating so much freaking sugar, you're going to keep a urinary tract infection. As well as someone like myself who has had chronic candida, I can literally tell the same day if I've had too much sugar, because I'm not getting an infection per se, but just bladder irritation, just constant trips.
Hey, Kim, sorry to interrupt you, but can you explain, just in case there are people who don't know, what candida is?
Okay, so candida is a yeast. It is normally in your body. Everybody has candida in their body, but some of us have too much of it, and our bodies are not able to balance that with your normal flora of your body, and it just grows and grows and grows and gets out of control. And particularly in your gut, like I have an overabundance of it because I have a bit of an immune dysfunction. It's not huge. It's just something that shows up on my DNA results from 23andMe when I plugged it into the genetic genie. And I'm like, what in the world is this? And yeah, so I discovered a lot of things after I developed 3 bouts of pneumonia in 4 years and was doing some deeper research. And I'm like, wait a minute, I've had candida since I got out of the Air Force when I was 19. And, this has just been a problem for me constantly. It does cause feminine yeast infections, which most people know it for. Um, Ironically, I rarely ever get that because once you've had this for so long, you kind of catch it super early. You just feel like a certain little feeling and you're, oh, okay, we need to take our meds. you know. And I pretty much keep a running prescription of fluconazole. So anyway, so you can women will get it under their breasts. It'll, if you've ever seen like a woman that had redness under her breasts, you can get it there. You can probably Google pictures if you want. I'm sure most women don't go around showing that stuff to you, but um, but yeah, so that can develop like in a day's time. If I've got it really bad at the end of the day, I'm taking off my bra. Sorry, Jonathan. And I'm like, oh God, and it feels raw. I kind of think it's probably a lot feeling wise, like, the feeling that men get from the chafing whenever they wear the swimsuits that rub. I've got 4 boys, so I know that happens.
Well, Mike wants to know, is candida always visible, or you may have it but not deposited in some
It's
organs and not be able to tell? And then he said, are there tests for that?
okay, so I mean, it's not visible. Like if you get a yeast infection and you're a female, you can have like some white discharge and stuff. This is awful. This is going downhill quick.
And Jonathan's just like looking down.
So
Yeah.
I would get it on my scalp and it was like little zits. And I'm talking, I had it for years and it would just kind of wax and wane and I didn't know what it was. And it wasn't terribly, uncomfortable. It just itched a little bit and it's just like a little tiny zit. And, it just still itched a little. Not, it wasn't anything major. As far as like in your organs and stuff, like if you had like a invasive candidiasis, which would be a very deadly thing, blood infection and whatnot, you would be in the ICU with that. And that's basically what I'm trying to avoid. I want to get this stuff under control so that if I ever am in the hospital and deathly ill, it doesn't just say, hey, now's our time to shine, and kill me.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'll ever be able to truly get it under control because of my immune deficiency. I mean, well, I can get it under control, but I don't know if it'll ever truly be not a problem for me. If I were to eat some berries, it's going to come right back. So,
Okay, so thank you for explaining that, because I just saw that I'm glad because there are people who had follow-on questions. But as far as the carnivore diet and all of that, you're saying it's more so the sugar
yes,
than anything
the
else.
sugar, 100%. I mean, it's bad. Like it feeds on sugar, and it just goes crazy when you give it a little sugar. It's like a little. I just picture like this little devil in there, just be like, yeah,
This little sugar devil.
little sugar devil. It's like, yeah, give it to me. Come on, mama.
I don't know, Jonathan. I mean, I'm sorry you have to follow that.
Oh, sorry, Jonathan. But this is not
Sugar
female
devil.
stuff, y'all. This is why it doesn't bother me to talk about it, because what I'm talking about is like a chronic cough. Like if I eat too much sugar, I'll start coughing. My throat will get sore. The next morning I'll wake up. Sometimes I'll have like, mostly from weed, I would have like sores on my tongue. Like not a lot, just like, here and there. Just, the aphthous ulcers that people get. It would cause that. I would get a sore throat. I'd get really bad postnasal drip, which if you have year-round sinus problems, they say that often that can be candida.
Oh.
And I found out that that was the case with me because I took a diflucan to treat my other candida, and it knocks it out like that. And I've
Damn.
done, repeated kind of experiments with it to make sure that that was actually what it was. And I don't have any sinus problems right now because my
Yeah.
candida is under control. But, for 20 years, you can look in my medical records and see that I had constant postnasal drip.
Well,
And
I'm glad you were able to join,
thank you.
and I found this article because I mean, Jonathan and I
Oh,
only
yeah.
go so far. But having someone who is in, the healthcare industry, I mean, this is definitely very helpful with the
Well,
level of detail explanation you're able to provide.
it's funny. I do want to add one more thing before I forget. The candida also causes bladder irritation and will make me go to the bathroom like crazy. Like I'll have to have the bathroom everywhere I go. But now
Oh,
back to what you were just now saying. You guys know way more than I do about nutrition. I mean, we're not taught nutrition. Everything I know about nutrition, I have learned from self study. Okay. And most of it was to treat myself. So instead of actually learning it, what I would do would be I would listen to reputable sources who I trusted and
mm,
say, okay, does that make sense? Okay, let's look, kind of glance at that study. Does that look like it's right? Okay. And so I would learn concepts or good and bad, where to file information basically in my
yeah,
brain. But I can't just spout it out like Jonathan, and you. You guys are on it when it comes to the nutrition and the biochemistry of it. I just recently took biochemistry about 4 years ago, and
That's a
I
helpful
found
helpful
that I
topic.
really liked
yeah.
it. It's very interesting. And if you take biochemistry, you'll know why the ketogenic diet works. you
Yeah,
know.
my mom has the biochemistry book still on her bookshelf. So next time I go home to Jersey, we're gonna swap books. I have a book she wants
Oh
to
yeah.
read, but I'm gonna bring that. It's a thick textbook, so I'm gonna I still have my
Yeah.
biology tech or my nutrition textbook
Um,
from college, but I want to read the biochemistry book.
have you ever heard of the app edX? ED. It's like Education X, basically
No,
edX.
it's kind of
They
like a
have free,
TEDx.
yeah, but it's called
Okay.
edX. They have free courses, excuse me, from Harvard. I mean, not that we love Harvard, right? From like Harvard, Stanford, all of these big, Ivy League type schools, just really, good schools, and
Yeah.
they're free. And I just
Oh,
registered for a biochemistry course on there, and then I thought, well, do I really want to do that? It's a lot of
nice.
time invested, but they have a lot of different, topics and courses that you can take. Just basically free college courses. You don't get credit for it, but I don't need credit for it.
Yeah. Damn. So I mean, I don't have anything to add to that, but Jonathan, do you have anything to add to the sugar devil
I
with
think for the sugar
urinary
devil, no,
tract?
I think Kim summed that up really well.
Yeah.
It's just reductionist data, it doesn't really pinpoint anything. I know there's bigger disasters that can be happening in your body in regards to diet, so I won't be too concerned about the pH of your urine.
Okay. The next one, I actually hear this one a lot. Carnivore diet and gut health. So the carnivore diet apparently could damage the colon. Just talk to Kent Carnivore about the carnivore diet and his colon health. Um, and degrade gut health. In fact, changes to the microbiome eating nothing but meat could colonize the gut with bacteria and increase the risk for heart disease. Animal protein is high in L-carnitine, a type of amino acid. The New England Journal of Medicine has published a study, of course, which demonstrates certain strains of bacteria turns carnitine as well as choline in eggs to TMAO, a compound that has been shown to damage the arteries. And then it says, um, by removing all fiber from the diet and eating only meat, you increase the likelihood of two things. Your microbial diversity will suffer. Some of the flesh that putrefy in the gut, which can break down the gut wall and increase the risk of cancer of the colon in the future. Don't believe the science question mark, and then they go on, I don't believe the science. But Jonathan, since why don't you lead this one off, and if you need me to scroll up or down, I can do that.
Yeah, just leave it there. I got the 2 main points there. So the point about TMAO, okay, one compound which might do one thing in a petri dish. Okay, no point made there. Your microbial diversity will suffer. What is a diverse gut microbiome? How do you define that? You can't really define that. Now, there's an idea that if you've got a more diverse gut, you've got more flora in it, more, I don't know, bacteria, stuff like that, which means that you'll have better resilience to illness because you've got a better immune system because you've adapted to deal with external and internal factors which can cause illness. You can't really underpin what that is because it's too dependent on your own environment. So, for example, if I put in my body through fecal matter Nicole's microbiome, that might not necessarily transfer to better health outcomes because I've adapted with my current diet, with my current environment to deal with what is at hand. If I've got some of that American bacteria, American germs, then that's not relevant to me. It doesn't do anything because I'm not susceptible to illness in that area. So it doesn't really mean anything. Now, to the point of putrefying the gut, well, that doesn't happen. There's, I believe, maybe like 10, 15 years ago, there's this idea that you had like 20 pounds of rotten meat in your colon. Guys, pick up a pack of 20 pounds of meat and tell me that's in your gut. Come on, it's not logical. Now, what else are they saying? The risks to the gut wall. Well, I thought the most risk to the gut wall would be through fibre and plant antinutrients, which would be causing gut permeability. Protein, I mean, if you break down what meat is, water, amino acids, which have often been broken down, maybe a tiny bit of glucose, maybe a little bit of, some minerals. That's essentially it. That's essentially what meat is contained of, collagen, a peptide amino acid. So from that point, you can say we have all the enzymes to break all this food down. Therefore, it will break down in our gut and be transferred through the colon. Now, the same isn't true for fibre. Our body has to deal with that, and there aren't enzymes to break enough of that down. We don't have a cecum. We don't produce cellulase to break down different fibre components. So, therefore, that would be a greater risk. Now, whenever we're transitioning to and from a different diet, there's always a change in gut microbiome. So, if, for example, the author of this paper or article was to say, I tried it for a week and I felt like crap, well, yeah, you probably would because your gut microbiome's changed. There's always an adaptation process. So, like you said, the thing at the start, Nicole, if people actually tried this, they might have a different experience, but they won't initially get 100% of the results in the first week. They have to transition slowly. So that's pretty much it. I think I've summarised that quite well, but there's probably a few more points to expand upon. So I left the door open a bit.
Yeah, you pretty much hit on everything. The only thing I want to hit on is, again, this is RD writing this article, and the belief when it comes to the microbiome specifically is, yes, as Jonathan said, it's very adaptable. Your microbiome adjusts based off what you're feeding it, what you eat. Now, the thing with fiber is what we're taught is we need fiber because that's what our gut microbiome feeds on, and we need to give it that bacteria. And that's, I think, why this particular article is touching on that when it comes to the microbiome, because that's how RDs are trained, that fiber is what feeds our gut microbiome, and without that our bacteria will die, and well, like all this crap, right? So that's what they're taught. Now, when it comes to fiber specifically, I want to try not to get on my soapbox because in my textbook, we're taught, we can't digest or absorb fiber, but eat 6 to 8 servings. Make sure you get your fiber. We can't do anything with it, but it's very important, like all those things. So it's very contradictory. When it comes to fiber, it really is gut damaging. Like I said, go check out Kent Carnivore's channel. He's based in the UK, but he had his colon removed because of all the fiber he eats. Now he's carnivore. So what happens is fiber, because we can't digest or absorb it, I say it's like a traffic jam in your digestive system because your body's trying hard to get rid of it, to excrete it as waste. It's just waste. But when you're eating plant foods, and this means vegetables and fruit and nuts, seeds, legumes, all your wheat, like all that stuff, what happens is, yes, there are vitamins and minerals and things like blueberries, I think was mentioned earlier. Sure, I'm not here to say there's zero nutritional value in those things. Yes, but they are vitamins and minerals and nutrients for plants. I don't have any cousins who are heads of broccoli. We're not in the plant kingdom. But because those nutrients are encapsulated in fiber and we're not built, our system cannot handle fiber, we don't absorb very many of those nutrients. It's very minimal. You're not getting how much you think you're getting by eating those foods. You're maybe getting, and I'm being generous here, maybe 50% because it's encapsulated in fiber. So you're literally excreting the vast majority of those nutrients out, whether it's in gas or it's in your stool. Now, when it comes to other things, it's not just vitamins and minerals you're losing by consuming fiber. You're also losing hormones and other things that you actually need. So, like, say women, for example, because I'm a woman. So, like, we want to keep our estrogen because every month we lose, like, our hormones go buck wild, once a month. But because we're eating such a heavily plant-based diet, women who once a month are losing iron, heme iron, we're losing estrogen, like all these things are happening, our sex hormones during that time of the month. If we're also eating fiber, our hormones, things like estrogen, are also getting wrapped up and binding to fiber, and we're losing that too when we excrete it out. So fiber really does cause a lot of issues in the body, not just for the gut microbiome and our gut health and all that. I just wanted to say that because I think something that causes that much damage and causes more than just nutrients, vitamins and minerals to be excreted. We're also losing certain hormones, sex hormones and things like that with fiber. And I've never heard of anyone talk about that aspect. And I think that's an important point to note. That's not really common knowledge or mainstream knowledge because not very many people are talking about that aspect of it.
Well, from my perspective, first of all, we know very little about the gut microbiome, especially in mainstream medicine. We almost never address it. Short of giving someone a fecal transplant, there's not very many ways that are known to actually significantly change it. You can take probiotics. They work while you're taking the probiotic, and then pretty much after that, they don't necessarily take up residence. They usually kind of do a little something and pass on through, but they're not really taking up residence. And then you have to get a good probiotic. Like, for example, you would want one that was refrigerated so that you're not just getting a capsule full of dead bacteria. It's just I don't know, it's just, there's just so little known about this that I don't know how they can say, oh yeah, this is what happens and stuff with the gut, because we do know that the gut microbiome has the ability to kind of change itself about every 3 days. All right, but we can't consistently say give it this, and this will happen. Because if we could, everybody would be skinny. Because, there have been cases where people have gotten fecal transplants, which, I don't even want to think about that, but, but it's a thing. And from someone who was skinny and they were obese, and they took up that bacteria in their microbiome, and then they got skinnier, basically. Or the reverse. There have been cases where there have been obese people that have donated to skinny people, and the opposite happened. So, short of actually doing that, we just don't know a lot about it. So I don't know how they can even confidently say that your microbiome will suffer, and that, the flesh will putrefy in the gut. Well, we know that that's not true, because meat is digested very early, in the system, very, very high up. And what putrefies and passes through at the other end is not the meat, it's the veggies, all that good fiber that you're eating, you know. Um, have you ever heard somebody say, "Oh yeah, I don't want to eat meat because I don't want to have all that rotting meat in my system." I'm like, okay, look in your refrigerator right now. What is rotting and stinking it up? Is it the meat? No, it's not. It's the veg. And you can't even keep the veg for 3 days without it rotting and stinking up the place. So, same with your body, in my opinion.
I love potty talk.
Me too. And fecal transplants,
That was
yum.
I'm assuming Jonathan's still muted, so I'm assuming he has nothing else to add to that. That was
Jonathan's
perfect.
like, this girl, why did we invite her?
We're gonna end on Kim like for every single thing from now on. There's only one more question, but next time we do this, Kim's gonna end it.
Answer. I'm just gonna be like, this is stupid. Sorry, I just have to tell it like I see it.
I know, that's why we're gonna end with you. This is just dumb.
This is just stupid. Who cares about this lady?
Oh man. So this is perfect timing. So I have a new client starting in a couple weeks, and he has gout, and his doctor told him to reduce his red meat consumption, right? Because that's what we've all been told. But if you go to, I think his YouTube channel is Breaking Thin, he talks about how the carnivore diet cured him of gout. So carnivore diet and gout. As mentioned in a recent post from, I don't know what the hell that is, lowering uric acid, many leading physicians now seem to believe that gout is a condition marked by an excess of sugar, alcohol, and most recently meat in the diet. Vegans often have high uric acid, so this isn't exclusively a carnivore issue. However, beef, shellfish, and poultry are all high in purine, a crystal-like compound in food that creates uric acid when it's broken down in the body. A diet very high in purine can lead to gout and kidney stones as levels of uric acid accumulate to unhealthy levels. Further, elevated uric acid is also one of the primary causes of joint pain. The condition known as gouty arthritis is marked by the formation of crystal compounds in joints, commonly causing pain in the big toes, feet, and elbows. So I don't have a lot to add here. I will just say, when you're talking crystals and compounds and all that stuff, has this registered dietitian not heard of oxalates? Like, has she never heard of that before? Because oxalates, like if you're talking kidney stones, are actually one of the most common form of kidney stones in people. So that's all I wanted to add here. Breaking Thin, the YouTube channel, he does carnivore diet and cured gout. He did the exact opposite of what was recommended by his doctor and cured his gout. But my belief is, one, there's not a lot known on this, and I think they're just shooting from the hip and just making crap up. I think oxalates have the very same effect that this article right here, that this registered dietitian is spewing, because they form crystals in the body and bind to calcium and all these things in the body, which wreaks havoc. And it doesn't only have to present itself in a kidney stone. This can be formed anywhere. Like I had felt like sand pebbles in my eyelids when I was oxalate dumping. Like, it doesn't only form in the kidneys, it can form crystals anywhere in the body. So that's my 2 cents on that. Jonathan, because we're ending on Kim, what do you have to say about this?
Well, there's lots of errors in this one. The most obvious thing is that they're talking about having an excess of sugar, alcohol, and most recently meat. So with that being said, you're not meant to eat sugar, you're not meant to drink alcohol, you're not meant to eat meat. All carbohydrates turn into sugar, so you can't eat plants, you can't drink alcohol, I can get behind that. You can't eat meat, so you can only drink water, guys. That's all you can do. You can only drink water, and you can breathe air as well if you're
we're going to be breatharians.
That's it, breatharians.
Oxygenarians.
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, looking at this as well, they need to provide some context for reference. So, what is a meat-heavy diet? What is a sugar-heavy diet? How much of each individual is it protein or fat? How much of each individual thing do you need to eat in order to have excess uric acid? What is the limit? They haven't defined a limit. Now, if they said, if you eat, say, 200 grams of sugar or on a pound of meat, and that will create an equal effect. Well, even if that were true, the meat's going to be less damaging anyway, because the sugar from plant sources, for example, is going to glycate in your blood, increase the activation of the Randle cycle, be pro-inflammatory, be proliferating cancer cells. What else is there? So yeah, you're pretty much stuck. So the idea of the diet, guys, of the carnivore diet, is to have what's needed and no more. Just put the right things in your body, and that's it. And you don't need the other things. So the idea is you're trying to create the least stressful environment for your body to thrive, and that diet is always going to be containing meat and fat, ideally from fat from animals. So yeah, I don't think there's any validity to this at all. I don't think it underpins anything. I don't think they really cite anything that's useful. You made a good sort of point, Nicole. You kind of stated about the vegans having high uric acid levels as well. Just what are you meant to eat then? Because a balanced diet will contain both meat and sugar, if you're talking about the traditional balanced diet. So they're not really giving a fair outline here of what is the optimal diet to follow. So I think this particular point is absolute trash. What do you think, Kim?
Kim, can you include the word rubbish in your conclusion here?
I don't use the word rubbish. I should, because my family is from England, so I'm sure my grandmother. Actually, I've heard my grandmother say that word a lot, but we don't really. I just say that's garbage. Okay, so one example I want to give is of my cat. I know we are not cats, but my cat has this problem with the uric acid. Okay. Yeah, meat is not the problem. When the cat eats a more meat heavy diet, it improved. Okay. It's all just a lot of N of ones. There's tons and tons and tons of people who, if a lot of these doctors had these conditions, and a lot of these researchers had the conditions that they're talking so much about, they would know that that's not what happens. Because, if you have gout, you can do a little experiment on yourself and say, well, does it feel better when I eat tons of sugar? Does it feel better when I eat tons of meat? I think we all know what's gonna happen. But I don't have gout personally. However, I don't know if it was arthritis or what. I did have some aching in a couple of toes before I started carnivore. Like I said, don't know if it was gout or not. I don't think it was, because I've heard gout is just a really unbearable pain. And it wasn't that. It was probably more of an arthritic pain, but it's gone, whatever it was. But yeah, I think it's pretty well established in our community, at least, that, what the cause of gout is. And she says many leading physicians now seem to believe. Are we going on what people seem to believe now? I don't know.
Oh, Jonathan, did you have anything to add? You unmuted.
No, I was just going to say, lol. Yeah, leading physicians. Who's your point of reference for that?
Yeah.
Who are these leading physicians? It always makes me laugh when they say, experts say. I'm like, all right, what are your credentials? Where'd you get them? And who have you helped?
Yes,
usually the last question ends with no one.
The onus of showing their credentials is on the people who are stating these things that are so, oh yeah, this is for sure what causes it. We're just trying to make ourselves feel better.
Yeah.
I've got a friend from over here in England. He's also a friend of Phil Escott, who's from England. Now, he suffers with gout a lot in his feet. He finds if he goes off his diet and has alcohol or something, because he likes to drink, he likes a few beers sometimes, fair enough. He has a really bad flare-up. Now, in order to get him back to square one, he has to either spend a few days doing a carnivore diet and just getting back to maybe a week or two, or we can just do a dry fast for 1 to 2 days. So, like I said, there's like levels to it. So everything that you do in a given day is stressful to the body. It has some kind of negative effect, or we'd live forever and we'd just be breatharians. But we have to subsist. We have to put we have to create ATP. We have to do work, things like that. So by default, we have to choose a less toxic diet and the less toxic environment if we can. So that's kind of it, really. What do you think, Nicole?
Yeah, I looked at the rest of the article, and it says alternatives to the carnivore diet. It really didn't give any examples of alternative. It just said the carnivore. This is the ultimate elimination diet, but it doesn't mean this is the only way. Traditional elimination diet were common allergens like corn, wheat, soy, and dairy. Are strictly removed from the diet and then reintroduced one at a time could be helpful. So she didn't really give any. I was hoping she would end with some actual alternatives, but she didn't. So I want to stop sharing my screen unless you guys have anything to add with what I just said, Halsey, about the elimination diet.
I was just going to add real quick. So as far as elimination diets go, my functional medicine doctor wanted me to do the Whole30. Okay. Well, the Whole30 diet, I don't even know how you could consider that enough of an elimination diet to do anything, but they actually now will let you include potatoes, of all things, which is what I have one of the strongest reactions to. But it's just bizarre that, like, well, first of all, nobody's ever said that the carnivore was the only elimination diet that anybody could ever do, or the only diet that anybody could ever do. But we all know that the more things you can eliminate and then add one back at a time, I mean, that's common sense. Meat pretty much doesn't bother very many people. So you eliminate everything but the meat, and then if you just want to add back one thing at a time, and you can truly see what it does, especially if you don't leave it out for so long that your body has a kind of a response to just having some weird thing in it again. But that's all I wanted to add.
Yeah. So I'm gonna stop sharing screen if I can figure this out. Ooh, I did. Yeah. So hopefully you all found that valuable. Oh, Chad, nice of you to stop by, buddy. Yeah. So I'm gonna see if I missed any questions or anything in the chat. I was trying to monitor as we went through. Michael Johnson did mention the Ken Berry video. I don't know if anyone has that Ken Berry video, know which video it is. If you wouldn't mind dropping it in the chat or sending me an email, I would love to share that with my new client who has gout as a reference, because he was told, like I said, the same thing everyone, limit the red meat, like cut all this stuff out of your diet. So I want to share that resource with them. But yeah, so do you guys have anything else to add over anything that we talked about, Jonathan or Kim?
Nah, I think we did a cracking job.
No, I don't know that I added anything significant to the intellectual part of this, but
plenty of intellect
I added a
and
little
plenty
humor, if nothing else.
laughs.
Fecal transplants, like I heard it all. I'm good today. Oh, but yeah, if there are any last alibis, drop it in the chat. Unless you guys have anything else that you wanna chat about, that you're itching to chat about.
I'll just quickly state, if you guys aren't subscribed to me, Kim, and Nicole, you're on either of our channels, please do that now. It's very important. It's very important to Nicole to reach 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Please drop this video a like and sub to our channels if we provided you value. It'd be very appreciative, and yeah, it definitely helps us grow and helps the community grow. Kim, do you have anything to add to that? Does your husband have anything to add to that?
I'm surprised he doesn't. He walked there again. I'm like, I can't talk right now. I'm alive. I mean, just come on over and see what I'm about. And if you like it, subscribe. And if you don't, then that's fine too.
Yeah.
I'm probably not for everybody, but these guys will give you more of, an intellectual view of things. And I'll probably drive around town in my truck just talking about
Yeah.
nonsense most of the time. And we might go get
Sure.
some steaks. So come
That's
on over.
awesome. Yeah, Chad said he'll have to watch later and hello to Jonathan and Kim. So I guess he doesn't say
Yeah,
hello
very
to
good.
me. Thanks, Chad. Appreciate it.
I think
Thanks.
it's because you said hi to him first. And so
It's
then he
okay.
was like saying hi to us too.
Yeah, we're going grocery
Oh,
shopping. Who?
I'm sorry. There's my carnivore brother,
Oh,
Robert Bubba
Robert.
Baker. I call him
Okay.
Bubba because he's my carnivore brother. He said he just woke up. He always supports me, and I need to shout him out more because he's very, very loyal to me, and we're very good buddies, and we always chat and stuff. But everybody go follow Robert Bubba Baker, and
Oh,
he's on his
nice.
carnivore journey as well, and he's been doing some really cool things like getting into the really cold water in the ocean, and
Ooh.
it just I can't stand to even think about it, but
Yeah.
evidently it's supposed to have some health benefits. So
Does he live in Kentucky near
he
you?
lives in Canada. Yeah,
Oh.
I actually met him, I think the first or second week that I was on YouTube doing carnivore stuff. So
Nice.
yeah.
Fun. Have you guys collabed? I don't think I've ever heard of his
We
channel.
have, yeah.
Okay.
I actually interviewed him on my channel. You guys should go
Oh,
watch. It's one of my most watched videos. So
really? Yeah,
yeah,
I have to go watch that one. There's so many like
I
channels to
know, I
follow
know.
and keep up with.
Yeah, I'm struggling now.
And
Yeah.
if you're actually making content, you can only be so much of a consumer if you're a producer,
Yeah.
where
Yeah,
you cross over the line to being consuming too much and not producing enough.
Yeah.
So I totally understand other YouTubers not watching my stuff as much, but
Oh no.
they said my link is
I'm
not in
gonna
the
drop it. I'm
description.
dropping everyone's link in there now. I'm dropping all 3 of our links in there.
Okay.
So
I think yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
try. I don't watch everyone's videos, but what I'll try to do is click like and just leave like a yes or something in the comment section so people
same
know
with
I've
me.
watched it.
And my channel name is exactly my name. It's just
I'm dropping
at
it
My
all.
my
Kimberly
channel
Lane,
name isn't
SNRN.
Jonathan, guys.
Yeah. I'm dropping it all, so they should be able to just like go right to it.
That's
I just
kind
have
of
to
you. Yeah.
grab. I just have to grab Kim's here, with all her initials.
I'm
Lots of
I'm
letters.
gonna remove those initials. I'm going back and forth. I need y'all's opinion. What do y'all
Yeah,
think? Seriously.
removing the initials.
Yeah, I mean, like, in a way, I kind of want, when I say something that's actually relevant and somewhat intelligent, I want people to understand that it's not just coming from just any old place, right?
I
But at the
mean,
same time, I'm like, I'm not here as a nurse necessarily. I mean, I'm kind of a nurse everywhere I go, but
yeah.
it's,
I
I
would
don't
just like
know.
drop. I don't know. Jonathan and I don't have initials. I
Yeah.
just include like in my about. I would just put
Yeah.
like I'm Kim. I'm a
I might do
registered nurse
that.
or whatever, and just take because for me I didn't
It's
put
just confusing and nobody knows what
yeah
it is anyway.
I didn't put it in just because yeah kind of like you like I don't want to be tied to that, but especially
Yeah.
being a nurse and in a healthcare field, it's different. Like you might feel a bit more limited or restricted or like
Yeah,
you
I
have to
really
hold
kind
back a
of
little bit.
do.
So I would just remove it. That's just my opinion though. I thought about changing my channel name to maybe just former fat girl nutrition or something
Yeah.
a little bit shorter, but yeah,
Well, it's funny because like my name was Nurse Mama. And
oh,
that
I like
was
that.
and
But
and I
yeah.
had Nurse Mama as my name everywhere, all socials for years. And then I was like, I want to change it from Nurse Mama. And I was kind of
Yeah.
getting into like doing some YouTube content, but I didn't really know what I was going to do. So I was like, I saw there's this girl, I think her name's like Mercy Gono, and she has like Mercy Gono BSNRN. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. But my middle name is Lane. So I just,
Yeah.
I don't want to use my real last name. I'm kind of weird about that, even though if somebody found out, it wouldn't be that hard probably. Um,
Yeah. Well,
but
F.R.
yeah, so
Humphrey
now
said
I
the
don't
same
know.
thing. He said,
and then I'm like, I want carnivore in my name too.
See, I don't want carnivore in my name because I don't want to be tied or limited to that. I don't want to be tied to a specific way of eating because I'm not carnivore. And if I go closer to keto one day, I don't want to be judged for that because my channel says like ketovore or keto, and I went a little too heavy on carbs one day, and then I'm like banished from the ketovore phase. But my only concern is if there's liability associated. And then Susan said the same thing. I am a retired BSN nurse. Yeah.
Oh, Sophie said Jonathan calls me muscle mama. That's so cute.
She has a. I think she has a top which says that or something.
She has a shirt that says that.
I think so. Yeah, cute. I'm not certain. I can't remember. Yeah. I thought about like carnivore Jonathan or something, but I thought, you know what, I want to get on this on my own merit and do it with a really oppositional name that has nothing to do with carnivore.
Right.
And I find that 95% of people that support my channel are carnivores, so go figure, they seem to be attracted to that. But the thing is, by limiting yourself to say you're carnivore, you'll never maximize your intake of subscribers. You'll never do it because they'll be offended. So I put out content about training, improving body composition, exercise, using the carnivore diet. So I'll be able to draw more people in by doing that. And I think what you said, Kim, about like the credentials and stuff, you should be proud of your credentials as we all are. I mean, it's good that you have that. So maybe just put that in your description, or you're about sex, whatever.
That's what I do.
Especially since, people, when somebody's saying, hey, go to this person's channel. What's her name? Oh, Kimberly Lane. And then like,
I know, I always forget the initials. I was like, Kim Lane, the initials. Yeah, so like Chad here, Minimalist Carnivore. If you guys haven't subbed to him, sub to his channel too. He has good and entertaining content. But we're also doing a collab, I think, in a couple of weeks with Dave, No Carb Life. But also, if you hop on a thing like this, a quick intro of what you do works on your site, they will know. Yeah. So like you can have like that trailer, which I have to have one, like on, that quick intro, the video that shows up on your main page. You can do one of those that kind of set, and then you can, say your background in the healthcare and all that stuff there too. At least I think that's what Chad's saying.
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah. And then he said, I did not care if I got tired of carnivores so much, but after about 3.5 years, tied. Sorry. I just saw tired at the end. But yeah, 3.5 years, I'm pretty sold into it. Yeah. I just didn't want to be tied to it. Because I never intended to go zero carb. Like personally, I never intended to stay. I just used it as an elimination diet. Just to like heal my digestive, my inflammation and all that. And then I kind of figured out, like I ate pineapple because I wanted to try that. I was like, nope. So I kind of like dabbled with what works and what doesn't work, like how my body truly reacts. And I landed on what I landed on with the very minimal carbs. But, I'm not opposed to, like if my husband orders French fries, I'll have 2 or 3 and that's it. But, I'll just grab a couple from his plate, but that's it. But like, I'm not that strict and I don't restrict myself because he's not eating the way I'm eating, and I just incorporate things into my life that make sense for me. But I used carnivore as an elimination diet, and now I land more so ketovore-ish.
So I had 2 channel names that I really liked, and one was kind of taken. It was Against the Grains, but somebody already had Against the Grain.
Yeah.
And then the other one was Ketosis the Mostest.
Yeah.
That's pretty clever.
Because it's just goofy and I'm goofy.
Yeah.
But that would be hard for people to like, it just doesn't roll off the tongue.
Yeah.
I don't think the average person is meant to be strict carnivore, not because it's not best or optimal or anything like that, but I think this is very difficult to be strict with.
It's hard.
I mean, if you're a headstrong person like me, it just does exactly what they want. You'll be strict as hell.
Well, it's easy.
The average person can't do that.
Sophie does it with you, so it's easy. Yeah. Like most people, like Jim's spouse, my family doesn't do it, so it's harder. Yeah,
like Sophie's actually kind of quit the carnivore diet as of maybe last week.
I wasn't sure if that was clickbait, that title.
It's semi clickbait. So watch the video. I think it's out today actually, so it'll be out in 24 minutes, guys.
Okay.
Today or tomorrow.
I'll check while you talk.
They're always at the same time each day, but watch that. Is a very good video. It's very honest as well. And her reasons for stopping were mainly the fact that it's very hard to go anywhere, especially in England compared to any other country, to buy a carnivore style meal. So if you're going out, say once a week, maybe with a friend or families or friends' house for dinner, it's really hard work. And also there's negative connotations of it, particularly over here. If I think of the amount of carnivores in this country, like people that I know online, maybe it says about maybe 10, 15 names I know, whereas I know about 200 names from the US. It's significantly harder to do. And for her, you can watch the video, but it kind of goes into like her issues of like eating disorder, things like that. And the carnivore diet for her isn't effective right now. So she might get back to it, but for her right now, her diet's, if I'm honest, this is quite bizarre to say, but her carnivore diet right now is strict to the most carnivores I know online.
Oh.
And she's off carnivore.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I've spoken to a lot of people. I can honestly say the average adherence is somewhere between 80 to 90% carnivore.
Strict carnivore, you mean?
I think that really for me, I'm using not only carnivore to heal my candida, hopefully cure my candida, but also just as an elimination diet and to achieve more optimal metabolic health overall. And once I feel like I'm metabolically healthy and I'm in the body that I feel like belongs to me, is not some foreign entity where I look in the mirror and I'm just totally disconnected from what I see. Then I think that I may add some stuff back in and, just do kind of like, okay, I've eliminated, now let's see what strawberries do or, whatever. And then just one or two things at a time. And then eventually I may settle on some form of a ketogenic diet, I would say. I'm definitely not going to be, eating a whole lot of sugar. So I would say some form of meat and vegetables if I tolerate them.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did. I landed on berries, avocado. Sometimes I'll have nuts. I can't eat a lot of them. I'll just grab like a handful and that's it every once in a blue moon. Sometimes I'll have a little bit of veg, like asparagus or something like that. But yeah, it's very minimal. But yeah, that's what I did. I kind of like dabbled to see what works and what doesn't work, and that's pretty much what I landed on. So for the most part, it's just mostly avocado and berries. For the most part, and every once in a while, I'll have maybe because most steaks come with sides. Usually, most of the time, I'll just get the slab of meat and no sides. But if it comes with asparagus, sometimes I'll eat a couple of the asparagus because that doesn't bother me. But yeah, that's exactly what I did, Kim, and it's been working for me.
And I mean, just for full disclosure, I don't feel like I'm being on carnivore trial here or anything, but
no.
I mean, I do like I've been on carnivore for 90 days and I've had probably 3 different times I've had a few berries, So
yeah,
I didn't always have great reactions to it, but
yeah. And Chad says he was going to do minimalist health, but to me that sounds bad. I'm going to do the least I can. Yeah. I like your name.
I like your name too.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like to see carnivore in people's names because I'm like, it's easily recognizable as, there's my people. But then also part of me wants to say, all right, I want to really help people with their health.
Yeah.
So it might turn some people off if I had that in my name right off the bat instead of just kind of like, luring them in and and then, oh, by the way, I only eat meat.
Chaz says,
very naughty.
What are your fave nuts, Nicole? Mine were macadamia nuts, coconuts, and pistachios. I don't know why that's hard for me to say. Pistachios. Yeah, I do like pistachios. I like cashews. I get the lightly salted or unsalted. I can't do much salt when it comes to nuts. And sometimes I'll do almonds or pistachios, but like I said, I don't eat nuts all the time. But when I do, that's pretty much what I stick to.
Yeah,
I don't eat almonds, but I don't know.
You said you eat almonds or you like them?
I said I like almonds and like cashews, but I haven't been eating a lot of them lately.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe if I go by, I might have like a couple, 3, but I don't know. They don't seem to digest well
Peanuts don't digest well for me. Almonds and cashews are okay. The lightly salted or unsalted. I'll just grab a handful. But if I go to peanuts, like actual peanuts, yeah, those don't set well with me at all. I can't do peanuts. They mess with my digestion, and I
And I'm
feel
sure
bloated.
the healthcare community would say, "Oh, they're not digesting well because you've avoided them for so long, and you harmed your body."
You eat too much meat. Eat less meat, more nuts.
Yes. Less meat, more. They're going to carry around signs. Less meat, more nuts.
Who thinks I should change my YouTube channel to that? Less meat,
Less meat,
more nuts. Less meat, more nuts. I think I'll get more subs that way.
I think you should change it to just have it former fat girl.
I was thinking about that.
Just former fat girl, nothing else.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
Yeah, because
fat girl?
everybody who follows you is going to figure out what you're known for.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got your website and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it because a couple people were like, "Oh, your name's too long." I was like,
"It is."
Yeah,
I
know.
And I'm always like, "Wait, what's her at?" You know.
Yeah. At former fat girl. So yeah. So maybe I'll change it. I don't know how easy it is to change. I saw
it's quite easy.
It's easy.
Someone mentioned changing their name. I heard either yesterday or the day before, and they said, but it's kind of complicated to change your name on YouTube. I was like, it is?
No, not at all.
Really?
No. Not at all.
I didn't. It wasn't a massive job.
Complicated to change your whatever that stuff is called, like your.
Oh no! If I leave it to former fat girl, my thing will stay the same.
I know, but I'm saying I don't think it's easy to change that.
Oh, I see.
Because I remember whenever I did mine recently, it said, make sure this is what you want. I mean, I don't know. It might. I don't really know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Susie? I like former fat girl too. Yeah. So. I might go in this week. I might just go in today and just change it to former fat girl, and I'll have to change my banners and all that stuff too.
I do know that's easy to change. That your actual name.
The actual name.
So
I don't know if I should change the banner and all that stuff. That's a pain in the butt.
That is a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
I don't even have one. I have a beach scene.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Let me go.
I want to make one, but I'm just. There's only so many hours in the day.
That is a nice beach scene, though. That is a nice beach scene.
I took that picture myself.
Did you?
So,
That's nice. That is quite nice. Jonathan does all his backgrounds. He spends He
looks professional. Yeah. Look at that. He's got like a
upward
shield,
snow.
The logo. I like that.
Yeah, that shield over that way took about 4 hours to make. It's a real pain in the backside.
Oh wow, it's good though.
It took a lot of time. Yeah, I use it for a few different things. Yeah, all these things are just to add flair, add visual, because I'm quite monotone and people struggle to listen to me. So.
Well, someone says YouTube limits Fr Humphrey. Yeah, YouTube limits how many times you can change your name within a 14-day period. Okay, that's interesting.
So don't change it too many times.
I know.
In 2 weeks.
I want to know how many times did you change your name, Fr Humphrey? That's a lot. And then someone mentioned if it's about plunging into cold water, count me out. I think that goes back to
Bubba.
Kim? Yeah,
Bubba Baker. Yeah, he does. That's just like maybe 1 or 2 videos on his channel. He's told his story since the beginning, since he started, and I think he's like 30 days ahead of me. So
okay.
Yeah.
Susie says your background and logo are cool, Jonathan. Yeah.
I need all the help I can get, guys. I'm not the most entertaining.
Whatever.
He's a cyborg. He doesn't sleep. He's a cyborg.
So humble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jonathan, your voice is actually very soothing too. I think.
I send a lot of people to sleep. Thank you for recognizing.
No, I mean not like that. Like it's just. I'm trying to be complimentary here. It's very. You speak with authority, but yet it's a soothing tone. Is
it the accent? Is it the accent?
Part of it's that too. Yeah. In America, we think people from the UK are smarter.
I love accents. I was like, damn, I wish I could talk like that.
And people just hear me and they're like, who the heck? She don't know nothing.
I'm going to go in a minute, guys. I've got a meeting to attend for the last 5 or 10 minutes of that meeting. If you ladies are still here, I'll pop back on after it, but I'll be about 10-15 minutes if you're still here.
Jonathan has a YouTube premiere in like 15 minutes, so be sure to hop over and check that out.
On that one as well, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
We'll
I have to go out to eat with family soon. So
we have to go food shopping. So we'll close it out here since it is getting late. But thank you all for hanging with us and taking time and helping us dismantle that article. So thank you. It truly means a lot. And thank you to Jonathan and Kim for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thank you for hosting.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate y'all inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
All right, guys. Enjoy your afternoon or evening.
Okay, you too.
All right, bye.
Bye, guys.
See you guys. Bye.